Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be responding to something you all probably know Anita Sarkeesian did at vidcon. But also some stuff from the bullying panel I feel I need to have a say in. Also I wanna thank you guys for the support on the Anita video. At the time of this recording it's almost at 1,000 views. I really wasn't expecting that, or how kind you guys have been. I promise to try even harder. So without further ado, let's start.
And so I think it's a conversation that needs to keep happening, right? If you Google my name on YouTube, you get shitheads like this dude who are making these dumbass videos that just say the same shit over and over again. And like, I need to give you attention because you're a garbage human.
Honestly, how can you be on an anti-bullying panel after doing this to someone? I get that he has made videos about you and probably has said some nasty stuff, maybe. But why not talk about it on an equal platform? Him making a video pointing out stuff and maybe a few insults compared to you sitting on a panel that is first not about bullying and second calling him a garbage human being in front of everyone. What if he has anxiety? Do you think this is okay to do to someone? Because it isn't. Because someone with anxiety might be able to say stuff online easier than in real life. And then you have someone you made a video about do this in front of everyone. It's very different than an online video. And if you had to say it at a panel, why this one? This isn't even the anti-bullying panel. And what he has done is way less wrong than what you did right here. And even if he doesn't have anxiety, it is still not okay to do that. And how is that not bullying, but apparently calling you something online apparently is way worse? It's not logical, Anita.
Whatever, dude. But it's, you know, like the fact that these dudes are making endless videos that just go after every feminist over and over and over again, I think is a part of the issue of why we have to have these conversations. We don't just get to be online. We don't just get to participate like everyone else.
Why do you think people make videos about feminists over and over again? Because you keep doing and saying dumb shit that needs to be debunked. And most of you refuse to have a discussion with someone that disagrees. So we can't get anywhere. And so the only way we know how is to make videos saying this stuff in hope that it maybe changes or just gets a person to think. That's what happened to me. I used to be a feminist SJW, but I forced myself to watch to see their points, and slowly but surely I changed my mind because I think their arguments have more ground than yours. I might not agree with name-calling and stuff, but I listen to their arguments for what it is rather than how much they curse or name-call. I understand when people are frustrated, they say stuff they might regret later. And I sure hope you did after this. No matter how we put these arguments, you will call us bigots, racists, homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, Nazis. Which is interesting, because there are at least gay, trans and black people on our side saying the exact same things that I know of. Nobody gets to just be online. If you post stuff that others can see, people will criticize and hate. With the internet it's just way amplified with words and no physical stuff. It has nothing to do with your gender or ideology. Because male anti-feminists also get harassed. With participate, I'm not sure what you mean. You're allowed to do whatever you want. But everything you do will have consequences. The same goes for me, or anybody for that matter.
I think the whole argument of saying, oh, just close your laptop, just walk away, go outside, that doesn't work because we live in a world and a society where the internet is so connected to our actual real lives and you can't separate them anymore. It's not like you have your real life and then you have an internet life. It's like your work is connected that way, your social life is connected that way, and we need to start thinking of it as one thing rather than these separate things. And so then when you just say just walk away from it, that doesn't work because it's just such a part of your life. So that response just never makes any sense to me.
I do kind of agree with what you said, but I do think closing or walking for some time does help when it comes to personal things. And when it comes to personal things, you could have 2 separate accounts and stuff if you want one for private and one for public. so they don't have to be as intertwined.
And I think when we think bully, we think of this very childish kind of like, just get over it, just get tough skin, just, you know, your feelings. And so much I think of what we've all experienced is not so much about saying words that hurt. Like, I'm not sitting here with my feelings hurt. I've been on the internet long enough to take whatever it is you want to say. It's really when it comes to my safety. Like, my empathy is open to the point that my safety is in jeopardy, my family's safety is in jeopardy. Having an opinion about an experience that I have directly means that someone could show up to my house. Like, that you have to start making decisions about, is the thing that I think I need to say worth saying, or does it affect my life? And it's just it's a new world that we're in right now. It's not the bullying of like being in middle school and kids that make fun of me every day. It's like it's that times a million.
And it's in your pocket as well. That's the thing. It's like with you all the time.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah, you can't just turn it off. It's like our jobs, our lives are so interconnected with technology. It's moving so fast. And I think a lot of things I'm sure we'll get into, but I think the desire to just say, just get over it, just close your laptop is a little lacking in how layered technology is with our lives right now.
I do agree with that. I think it's ridiculous that we have to think and decide whether something is worth saying or not, because not only do our safety sometimes get put in jeopardy, but even family and friends are. Which is the biggest reason I've been scared to make response videos. Because even if I don't care about me, I will still automatically have dragged in family and friends. So it's not something to just get over when it comes to that serious stuff, I agree. However, to say it always follows you through the phone, I have to say not necessarily. 1, you don't need to have social media on your phone. And 2, referring back to my other point, that you can have 2 separate accounts, such as one private and one public, to help ease some of it and not be so intertwined.
And to end the targeted harassment of women, people of color, queer folks, anyone who is of any intersection of oppression has experienced some level of harassment online because of who they are, not because of what they're saying or what they're doing necessarily. And I think, going back to the original question, you gotta be super privileged to ever be like, well, there's no harassment online, either because you've never experienced it or you're choosing to ignore it and you're in spaces where you're not seeing that happen. Because it is a sad reality of digital space and online space that we are targets of harassment constantly, whether it's just one hateful message every now and again or a mob that's been going after you for years and years and years. So it's, it's just dumb. It's just outrightly incorrect to say harassment isn't happening, especially given that I have sat on a panel, called this, and panels about this so many fucking times, and we're still here, right? We're still trying to justify that we're being abused and harassed online, and this is real.
You mean like how straight cis white man gets harassed with you, people making it seem like everything that ever is bad is the white man's fault? And they're basically Satan on earth? Every single one of them, just because they are straight cis white men. I used to think women were victims, but I don't think they are really. Have women been harassed? Absolutely. Has minorities been harassed? Absolutely. But so has straight cis white men as well. I think minorities just gets upset more at stuff because they like to be victims generally. And actually, how are women a minority? I've never understood that. There are just 2 sexes, which means there should be a 50-50 split, which means they are equal. So how are we a minority and men are a majority? I'm not saying a woman or minority can't be victims, but to think they are victims at default just because they are women or minorities, when we do have some privileges, everyone has some. Such as women are more likely to win custody battle. If it was reversed, you guys would be flipping out about it. But no, we gotta complain about guys sitting with their legs spread and the imaginary wage gap that has been debunked so many goddamn times. Plus, at different places, different people are going to be the minority. I'm pretty sure in Asia, white people aren't the majority. So will the Asian people automatically be the bad guy and the white people be the victims there? Oh, I have no doubt harassment happens. And the reason you have to sit there so many fucking times is because there are always going to be shitheads in real life and online. You will never be able to get rid of them all, sadly. But I do agree to say harassment doesn't happen online is stupid, because it absolutely does. Which is why you do get warned by people. And people say if you can't deal with hate, then maybe you shouldn't do certain things that could trigger things like that to happen. You have to take necessary precaution because they are not gonna stop.
Yeah, I would actually love to dive into that a little bit more about the idea of critiquing versus bullying. Like how can someone critique somebody else in a way that isn't bullying?
Don't harass them.
Yeah, what does that mean? So like how do you offer like a positive critique?
It's not hard to be respectful and say, I disagree with you for these reasons, right? And come at it with the benefit of the doubt that you're coming where you're truly trying to intellectually have a conversation with somebody else, right? I feel like I get a lot of folks who say, well, what's the difference? Like, how do you draw the line? Where is it? And I'm like, I think it should be pretty clear what's harassment. Like, if you're like, hey, what you said was dumb, you stupid bitch, like, that's harassment. If you said, I disagree with your points because there's this example in X, Y, and Z or what have you, that could be better. I will just add, not to take up too much space, but I will just add that I think a lot of times, like I think that harassment is much broader than you defined it. Because harassment isn't only just threats. A lot of the stuff that's the most exhausting is the daily grind that is being thrown at you of either comments about your appearance, comments about things that are not related to your work, conspiracy theories that are made up about you, just the day-to-day stuff that isn't necessarily actionable, but it's just exhausting because it's people who are coming at you with bad faith. So there are folks who come to me and say, you're wrong for these reasons, but it's like 500 people that looked at one video that one person made online that is not coming at me with good faith, trying to attack what I'm doing, but it's not because they actually watched my video, it's because they watched somebody else's video about my video.
But making videos about someone is not harassment, nor is it inciting harassment. And I'm talking about response videos right now. There probably are harassing and inciting harassment videos, but the ones I'm talking about are shedding some light on what you say to more people and debunking it while having fun as well. When I argue with people, I sometimes get too heated and say insulting things because I am an emotional person and I do react like that sometimes. I do agree I shouldn't say insulting things because it does kind of take away what I try to say for some people, but it's just the way I am. Most people I see explicitly say not to harass the person they made a video about, and honestly everyone gets to a point where they are frustrated, so they say some insulting things. I'm pretty sure every human has done it at least once. When it comes to videos, I do think most of that could be cut out, but the thing is, some people need the logical reasoning, and just that. Some people need the shitlord stuff to enjoy it, and some might like a mix of it. There are different audiences that want to see what they want to see. Just like there are different kinds of games, movies, or even video genres. There are sub-genres within the genre as well. I think most people would like conspiracy theories about themselves. Would sound hilarious. It's very hard to have a definition that works for everyone because of different levels of tolerance. Some might think saying, hey, what you said was dumb, you stupid bitch, isn't harassment. Meanwhile, some might think it is the worst thing on earth. I don't see that as harassment. I think most people chooses to write it like that because they don't want to write a long essay like this, but still want to say how they feel. That could be better, but it still isn't good enough. In your reality, it seems we can't talk about anything you say or do unless it's agreeing with you, which is not healthy. So I guess any comment that is not related to your work is harassment, whether they are saying good or bad things. So now you complain when they do say you're wrong because of a reason. And now they are not saying that because of a video. It is because they think so. They watched the video, saw the points and agreed with them and decided to voice their opinion, which happened to agree with the other people that have watched the video. How do you know whether they care or not? Since I know you criticize games, of course there's going to be people who are engaged with that, because it's a big part of their life, and you choose to criticize that. I'm sure a lot of people do watch the video to see the context of you saying things, and saying, yep, they were right about this, and then writing. And you can't know whether it's good faith or not. You criticize something they are a part of. Of course you're going to have people who say you are wrong. I'm sure I'll have people saying I'm wrong about an issue or you, or any situation or person to come.
And so it's like, I feel like I'm constantly relearning how to communicate with other people and to adapt to that. And how do you have these conversations over these platforms that make you feel very connected to everyone all of the time, but connected to no one at the same time?
Of course you're going to have to learn how to communicate with people on a new place. 1, there are words that stop being used. 2, there are new words that we come up with. And 3, you act differently with everyone. That does not make you fake. But based on your relationships, you will behave a little bit differently comparing your parents, siblings, friends, significant others, acquaintances or strangers. Doesn't have much specifically to do with the internet as a whole.
And we have to figure out how we interact with each other and what is productive, because it's going to set the precedent for how we move forward and the laws that come into place. Because the internet is no longer just a place where we have fun, it's a place where we get to know each other and communicate, which is a very human thing that we need. It's interesting because we get in these this infighting, or we get in these back and forth conversations, and I just think that there is a lack of empathy.
But the thing is, if someone makes a response video, that might be productive to them, because they get entertainment out of it, maybe they get money, or maybe they get to know people through it. But you might not think it is from your point of view. We can't really define what is productive for all and what is not. It is healthy that there is back and forth dialogue. That's how you form opinions, by seeing facts and then basing your opinion off of that. I do agree generally on Earth people do not have enough empathy, and we could use more of that.
Yeah, I would love to dive more into that, the idea of empathy, and when it comes to ending cyberbullying on a social level, what are some ways that y'all as creators try and do that, if you do that? How do you try and build that empathy within your communities?
I thought bullying on a social level was mostly already ended. Everyone knows it's wrong, they just choose to do it anyway. I find it hard to speak as a creator, but I guess I am a very new one. To be honest, I have always been a very empathetic person. The golden rule was taught to me, and it just resonated with me. So I've never been able to understand or relate to not being empathetic, which is kinda ironic. But for me, the only thing I can do is lead by example. The golden rule, to treat others how you would want to be treated. And since I'd want empathy, compassion, I gave that to others as well, until they do me wrong, and even then I tend to be pretty tolerant.
Ourselves as bothered by it, or just show them the truth that nobody can truly handle that stuff. It can often result in an amplification, and I think it's one of the biggest mistakes we can make. 2 wrongs never make a right, and I really think it eventually digs you into a hole that you may never be able to get out of if you respond negatively too often.
I do agree with that, Boogie. Perhaps you should say that to Anita, who called Sargon a garbage human being in a not bullying a panel in front of everyone, a bit before this panel, when that's what she considers bullying.
Yeah, well, I'd love to dive into that too a little deeper, with the idea being, when we're talking about ending cyberbullying on a social level, what can we each, as community members, do to try and fight back against that? Is there something you wish that your fan communities would do when they see that kind of behavior, or some kinds of questions that they can ask themselves before posting a comment?
I think that we are in a time right now where, again, I mentioned, I think technology is moving faster than laws and police officers know what to do with, and then all these people that previously have been these authority figures that can help you in a situation, it's changed so much. And I do think that I love when I see a community kind of come together and say, this is what we find unacceptable.
I have to agree, the police nowadays don't really do much about online stuff, sadly. And part of it probably is that they don't really know what to do or how to handle it. I also do love when you see a community come together and say something is unacceptable when it is.
I just think, yeah, we have to create these communities that are really involved in the progress of the community. It's not enough to say, well, we're all on the internet, so whatever goes, goes. It's like there are things that are just unacceptable when it puts people's safety at risk. Like it's not worth it when we're all sitting here trying to figure out how to use this technology to share our stories.
I do agree that when it puts people's lives at risk, it is unacceptable. But the thing is, you guys seem to think that calling someone a bitch is harassment, when that doesn't really put you at any risk. It's not life-threatening.
I think the question of what audiences can do to support people who are being harassed or to end online harassment is really complicated. There's so many different directions I can go right now. I think one of the reasons that I struggle with it is because it's really hard to be a bystander. It's really hard to watch people being harassed, right? Both in terms of whether you know them or not. And as someone who has been on both sides of that, it's been a really emotional experience in terms of being like, oh my God, all of my friends are being attacked right now. How do you deal with that? And there is secondary trauma that comes with watching people be harassed, whether it's happening to you or not, or because you're watching it happen. I think that a lot of people want to support folks who are being harassed and don't really know how. And that's a really legitimate feeling and a legitimate issue, because sometimes you might make it worse by saying something legitimately, and sometimes you might make it better by saying something, and it's sometimes hard to know. And so the advice that I often give is go follow what the person targeted is doing. If they're speaking up about it and they're being public about it, then you can amplify their voices and amplify their story, because it's clear that they want to be they want to speak about this issue. But sometimes folks don't want their voices amplified. So being like, oh, hey, did you see this person over here is being targeted, is not necessarily helpful. It can actually be really dangerous, because you don't know what situation that person is in or why they're choosing to remain quiet about an issue.
I do think that advice is good, but instead, why not ask the person that is being harassed what they want? Do they want someone to speak up or not? Because maybe they're scared to do them to themselves, but will want someone else to do it. So asking them will be a good thing to add on that.
And also how, like, being an ally of whatever if you are a white person, you should be talking to other white people about white supremacy and your privilege. If you are a man, you should be talking to other men about it. If you are cis, you should be talking about trans issues. You should be educating the folks in your privilege category so that we don't have to do that work, or whatever intersections, right? And I think that that's a really important piece of this, about how to be a good ally. What does that mean? How do you support this community? And how do we start building a space online where we just get to do the cool shit that we want to do, not be attacked because of the way we look or because of who we are, as opposed to just like, we're all making cool stuff and we can have interesting conversations around that. That isn't to say we can't disagree and we can't critique each other, but like, harassment needs to end, and we need to allow space for more voices to come in that are being silenced and shut down. And you know, like, I work a lot adjacent to games, and like, listening to young women who wanted to work in games but then see what happens to us in this space and not want to pursue that career is absolutely devastating. So how do we end that now so that we get more people, more women in tech, more marginalized voices in these spaces making videos about whatever it is that they're interested in?
Now hang on a second there. Why would all white people have to talk to other white people about white supremacy? Do you think every single white person believes that? We obviously don't. It is you who keep making everything about race. But the fact is, we have people of color on our side as well. So how are we in the wrong just for being white? The thing is, real racists are not gonna stop being racist. Most likely. So I don't understand what there is to discuss. We all know that ideology is bad, except people who always believe in it. Just like we all know murder is wrong except maybe murderers. That is not gonna stop murderers at all, if we talk about it so. Men also have problems. In many ways, women and minorities has privileges, and honestly, women are not a minority, Jesus fucking Christ. The thing is, you're saying majorities should talk about minority problems. But then when we do, you guys say we cannot speak for you because we aren't a minority, so which is it you want? We can't win with you. Well, maybe you shouldn't act like women are victims everywhere male dominated. And they wouldn't be scared, such as the wage gap that you make them believe, which is false. We would have more women in tech if more women wanted to work in tech. I understand in the past maybe things like that held you back, but now people generally just say to do what you want to do. You just have to work hard to be as good as other people are.
But I will say that your internet space is not a public square. It is your space, and I would like to treat my space like a living room, right? We can have friendly conversations, we can have friendly disagreements, we can talk about whatever, but you can't come in here calling me a dumb cunt, right? Like, I would kick someone out of my house for doing that. So, you know, like, thank you. I think that it's too often we get these bullshit comments about you're censoring me and freedom of speech, and I'm like, yo, I'm not the government. Cool. I guess don't capitulate to that. If you want to moderate your space, create the community that you...
If you post things to the public, it is not your space. People can say what they want. If you then moderate that, then that's your right. You aren't censoring anything because you aren't the government. You're allowed to take away stuff from your online space, just as much as people are allowed in because it's public. If you had a private thing with passwords and people still did, then it's different.
Can I also say that, like, if you guys are creators and just, like, in general, I think having empathy for other creators and, like, DMing them support is really nice, but it's not enough. Like, you can't just behind the scenes say, oh man, I see what you're going through and that really sucks and I'm here for you and I agree with you, but then you have a platform and you're not saying that. You're letting someone just, like, be taken over by the wolves, essentially, even though you agree with them. And I think a lot of times in this industry, it's like, I understand, everyone wants to be brand friendly, wants to be very cookie cutter, blah, 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 and like there's this desire to appease the most amount of people, but I think that there's still a space to have an opinion and to share that and to support other creators that don't have that platform and need that help.
Now you say it isn't enough, when just a while ago Anita said that sometimes speaking up makes the thing worse. I don't think YouTubers has the energy to do that with every single one to help them. It's just not possible. Some channels are purely entertainment, of course. They won't have an opinion then. You can't force them to do that either, if they don't want to. That's your opinion. They don't have to just because you think so.
I think we just need to be aware of everyone else's struggle on top of our own and not feel like this weird, like we have to compete with each other, be combative with each other to prove who's more or whatever. We can help other people while we're still dealing with our pain.
I absolutely agree with you. So tell that to the feminist SJW who love their Persian Olympics. So that's all I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again for being so kinda nice on the last video. Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.